Hi there and welcome back to Japan, where I'm going to be giving you a reaction and review to Wonderland by SIREN. And as you know, if you've ever been on this channel before, the reaction I've just done, and if you want to watch that before the review that I'm about to give you, pause this video, click the link in the description below, it'll open a separate little YouTube player where you can see the reaction first. Okay? Do you want to pause this? Do you want to watch the reaction first? Do you want to hear the song with me? Or do you just want to hear the review? Because that's what you're about to get. Don't say I didn't warn you. Here comes the review. Alright, so this song, like I say, really surprised me. It stood out as being a really good poppy single. Now, it had a similar quality to what I was saying about sweet pop just before, in that it is kind of your, I guess you could say it's very much in the middle of what we would expect from SIREN. And interesting enough, actually, of the songs that we've checked out for the SIREN weekend, I think I've pretty much said that about 3 of them, which is 3 of the 4 songs, which is kind of interesting considering that I've always so complimentary of the fact they have such a varied sound. And yet, like I said, they always do it within the context of sounding like themselves, and they've always got the same accessible quality to their music, but they usually are quite good at being varied. However, like I say, 3 of the 4 songs we've heard this weekend have been very much within their sort of central direction, I would say. I personally thought that the qualities that work with this, again, I hate to go #nobias on this, but I thought the keyboard really stood out in this. And I think when they use the keyboards, when they use that ability, really like any band who has a keyboard player, when you really put that front and center and you get good sounds, not cheesy sounds, I mean, okay, I know some of the sounds they're using are a little bit twee, but they're appropriate for the music, then it really elevates a band, because that's, you know, the keyboard player, like I always say, is the member of the band who can really have whatever sound they want in any song. I mean, for example, in this song, you had like the little kind of like the electric organ sound solo, and I mean, personally, I'm always biased towards that. I love the sort of sound of like you use like a Hammond organ or like a like a gospel organ in a piece of pop or rock music. I think it's an amazing sound. That was a very popular trick in the 90s when I was really sort of growing into music. So that's probably why I'm biased towards it. But still, I just loved hearing that. I thought it was really well done. But the rest of the sound was really well managed as well. I mean, the bass work, again, really nice. Anyan's always on top of that. I mean, she's getting better and better with time, but some really great bass lines in this. The vocal performances were fun. I loved the way that, again, they did nice sort of cool and answer. They did some great stuff with the backing vocal, in the pre-chorus especially, where you had like the rest of the members calling and answering with Sue. The drum work in this was, again, really fantastic. I loved that beat that she used in the verse. Now, I'd be fully willing to admit that when she went into the chorus and she did the little disco shuffle thing we always talk about, the kick, hat, snare, hat, kick, hat, snare, hat thing, which she does in so many of their choruses, I was kind of like, okay, fine, but I think you've earned this. I mean, obviously that's just the sound she likes, and there's nothing wrong with that. There's a lot of drummers who default to a certain beat for like things like choruses and such, like the beat that they just think has the most impact for the impactful moments. So nothing against that in theory, but you kind of feel that you need to show the variation elsewhere in that case. And like I said, I love that beat that she used in the verse. It was really well picked. You know, sort of those offbeat snare uses, snare drum uses as well. It was really nicely managed. And the bridge as well. I always say a bridge can make or break a song. Really great bridge in this. It was a nice melodic one. This song went through a lot of the steps that you would expect. It didn't do anything particularly original. Again, as I say, this is very much them playing to their own strength, but it worked really well. And I think these songs where they do this and they have the keyboards up louder, they just kind of work, you know. I mean, Sue's usually playing, the guitar sound she's usually playing is a relatively thin one. We have heard some songs where she goes for a heavy guitar sound, but usually it's a fairly thin song because she's doing more of sort of like a jangly rhythm job. You know, she's holding down the mid-range, which is great. I mean, occasionally she does like lead stuff and riffs and things like that, and that's fine when it's a little bit more prominent then. But usually what she's doing is she's holding down the mid-range because she's singing at the same time as well. It means that probably of the members, she's the one doing the most, the least intricate playing. And then the bass work is obviously usually very nice and complicated and advanced, as is often the case with Japanese music, but it's one of their strengths as well. Like I said, they've got a really good underpinning of drums. So really to add colour to their songs, like I say, the bass work is usually very interesting, but the bass work is something anyone who's worked with music knows that even the most complicated bass is usually quite a subliminal effect. So to really add identity to the sound, you need to play up to the keyboard player in this kind of arrangement, in the same way that a 4-piece rock band where there's 2 guitarists would often play up to the lead guitarist to add a bit of identity to the sound. So when you hear ones like this where they really are playing to her presence and bringing her in front and center and giving her a range of opportunities to use different sounds. It really does help and it really does work, and I think this is a wonderful example of that. And matched along with, like I say, it's got a great melody throughout. I really like the melody throughout this song, whether it be in the verses, whether it be in the cool dancer style pre-chorus, or whether it be in the chorus itself, which is kind of almost addictively catchy. So, yeah, it goes round and round in your head, and makes your brain explode. So this is, again, like I say, I think I can see the comparison between this and Sweet Pop in that they both have a very catchy nature to them. They're both very efficiently well-made pop songs with, pop rock songs. They're just both very good songs, and they're both very catchy, but in a way that I don't think is quite irritating. It nicely straddles that line between being endearingly catchy, endearingly earwormish, and going too far and being irritating. This nicely straddles that line. I think a lot of the time the difference between the two comes down to just knowing how to add enough colour, variation and musicality to stop something becoming irritating. And if you think about really irritating songs, get your sort of Baby Shark style songs. Usually the backing or the music as in general doesn't really have anything of quality. It's just kind of irritatingly pumping something which they know is earwormish on a basic melodic or rhythmic level. So I think it is the quality that allows them to do things like this and get away with it so well and in such an endearing manner. So personally, I'm really happy to listen to this, and the fact that I've heard so many good songs, even now after hearing as much of their music as we have, makes me feel personally quite happy. I think this is a really positive sign that there's still more good to be uncovered. I'm really looking forward to the new album, which is one of the reasons why we did this weekend, although I know we overran into Monday. Apologies. So I'm really looking forward to the new album, seeing what's on there, but also hearing a lot of the hidden treasures that we haven't had a chance to listen to previously, as with always with these kinds of groups, because I really want to listen to the music, but at the same time I want to share it with you guys. It's something where I tend not to be able to dive in the way that I perhaps would have done before and listen to every single album over the course of a weekend on my own. So like I say, I'm looking forward to the further continued adventures. But as always, now it's an interesting bit where you get to go in the comments and tell me what you think. So tell me what you think about this one, whether you like it or not, whether you heard it or not, if you've got any interesting insights or not. Just the main thing, if you give us an opinion, always best if you justify it, because that's how the conversation starts. So you can do that. You can like, subscribe, all the YouTube-y stuff. You can follow any of the links to the various social medias we have linked in the description below, if you should so wish to do. And big thank you to the Patreon supporters, like I always say, for keeping this whole thing doable and manageable and live. But massive thank you right now to you for making it through to the end of this video. And until I hopefully see you in Japan soon for another one of these, for now, ciao ciao.